The very first night of my job as a pizza delivery guy turned out to be something that you would only expect to happen in movies. The incident gave me sleepless nights, and I remember suffering from sleep paralysis thereafter. It was in February. We were nearing our closing time. The other delivery guy who would normally stay until closing time had left early that day for whatever reason. I remember him mentioning some personal, unavoidable problem. All of a sudden, the phone on the counter rang. It was past midnight, and we didn't think it was strange for someone to call at this hour for pizza, probably midnight cravings. But then it hit me. I was going to be the one to deliver it. The manager had received the call and gave me the address the caller had mentioned. I looked back at him with a frustrated look and he shrugged. I had no choice. The manager said I better be quick as he would have to wait till I came back. The chef handed the pizza to me with a frown, and I could clearly read the annoyance on his face. I didn't recognize the place and the address at first, but I was accustomed to delivering to addresses I had not heard of before. This particular address was difficult to find. After a lot of hassle, I found the house at the town outskirts. It was the last house in a row of houses opposite a long stretch of thicket. Forests have often freaked me out, so I decided to make it quick and get back as soon as possible. When I neared the house, I observed the front door to be ajar. Strange. I rang the doorbell repeatedly, but no one answered. Suddenly, a gust of wind threw open the front door even more, and I was able to make out the interiors of the drawing room. Brightly lit with all the lights on and completely empty. I entered anyway and called out for someone. No sound but a low, pleasant music playing from the cassette player on the cabinet beside me. It was so eerily silent with that music in the background that I started freaking out. I could hear my own breathing. Only then, from behind the door in the far corner, did I hear a sound. I headed towards that room. Shouldn't have. When I opened the door, I was expecting the caller, but I got the nightmare of my life. It was a person, all right, but dead. Almost. The corpse was lying on the bed in a pool of blood. Its abdomen was tore open, and the eyes directly looking at me. I wanted to throw up. In a split second, I was out of the house, not caring about who it was, or who did that, or the cold pizza in the box. I ran for my life, just before pausing in horror at a face staring from behind the door of the same room where I had just been. It was a man, showing only his head from behind the door, with a sickening smile on its face. I had been in the same room with that man for a minute or so. This was enough for me. I stepped on the gas and sped to my shop, throwing the pizza at my clueless manager, and from there to my home, where I laid for 4 days with a high fever. I quit my job thereafter. But what struck me afterwards was that no other houses except that cursed home had their lights on. It was like all of them were abandoned. I shrugged off that feeling at the time, but now as I come to think of that, I shudder. What was that place?